Hey, Brent. John Kirby with JayhawkSlant.com. What's it like? Is it easier to come in and do this that you know the personnel and you know the schemes that they've been doing?
Absolutely is. You get to know the kids off the field more than anything, and I've been able to watch them every day at practice. You get to watch the film with the coaches, so you know your guys in the room, the players. I eat dinner with them at the hotel. I mean, there's no ball side of it, but you have a relationship with the players, so you're able to know them as people. So it's been a quick transition as far as that goes, and I think just guys I've gotten to know are excited about the situation right now.
What would you tell KU fans to expect from a Brent Dearmon offense?
We're not going to go in and have a mass overhaul of what we do on offense. We're coming off of a 1 week bye week. We're going to keep doing the things that we do. We're going to have a little bit. Of course, everybody knows that I run a few RPOs. Okay, but we've already got a lot of some of those things in already. There's other guys on our staff that are RPO guys as well. They've done RPOs in their past, so it's not like we're going to come in and reinvent the wheel and do something completely different. It's just trying to have a vision and a voice and getting those guys believing in that vision and moving forward.
Matt Tate from the paper here in town, the Journal World. I was just curious how realistic it is for maybe guys that haven't really splashed and flashed this year personnel-wise to kind of improve from this point on and maybe make a name for themselves and become a bigger part of the offense.
I think on any bye week that tends to happen, not just with a coaching change. On a bye week, it gives guys that normally don't get as many reps during the season an opportunity to go out and make get a second chance to prove themselves. So it not just because of the coaching change, but just because of how it fell in the bye week, you may see a couple new names out there because we're able to scrimmage those guys a little bit more. We're able to put those guys in different situations because we're going against KU a little bit more this week.
So it wouldn't be crazy to see some guys making more plays that haven't been to date?
It wouldn't be crazy to see one or two guys. It ain't like you're going to see 12 new players on offense out there. But you may see one or two names that show a little bit more than have been.
Hey, Brent. Tyler Griever from WIBW TV in Topeka. Just evaluating from what you've seen from the offense so far, I mean, what particular areas do you want to see improve that you think might be holding it back just a little bit with you taking over?
I think our guys are hungry. That's the thing that I really liked about this week. Our guys have come out this week and they've attacked the situation. A lot of places, players we'll use this as kind of a setback and kind of a crutch and an excuse. I think our guys have attacked it. Our coaching staff has attacked this situation. I don't think I'm ever going to look at our guys and say that there's a weakness to it. I think we've just got to get our guys to do what they do best. Put our guys in their best positions to do what their God-given ability is.
Can you just speak to the weapon you have in Puka Williams and how you think he fits into what you might try to do?
Man, I like scoring touchdowns. So there's no particular scheme with that. I'd like to see one cross the goal line a little bit more. So whatever way that we can draw up to get one to cross that goal line, I'm all about that. And he's a phenomenal talent. If I've been around, I was around Trey Mason in 13, Cameron Artis-Payne, Corey Grant in 14, was around when we were recruiting Kerryon Johnson at Auburn. So, he's right up there with that talent level. He's a different physical body than those guys, but he's got the same amount of God-given talent that those guys had.
Hey, Jesse Noel, Kansas State Star. Brent, I wanted to ask you about, I've heard you talk about the RPO. I think a lot of people focus on the pass part of that, but you focus a lot on the run part based off your history. Guys, can you speak to that and how important that is with this scheme?
Well, just a side note that a lot of people don't know about me. My dad was my high school football coach. My dad was an offensive line coach. So when I was about 4 years old, I could draw up trap and midline and belly and all that stuff that happened up front, or I didn't get to eat dinner at night. So with that background in me, even though I played quarterback, with that background, I had an understanding through my dad that in order to win football games, you got to run the ball. When the seasons change, when it starts getting colder, usually the team that runs the ball the best in the rain and the snow, those type things, you've got to be able to establish a run game. So kind of the history of where the evolution of the RPO with the book was took Gus's stuff. I went to Arkansas Tech, and we sold out to it and wanted to run the ball, and that box got tighter and tighter and tighter. And we said, how can we keep doing that but get guys out of the box? And so the mentality is still run the ball. The mentality is to, when we got the best looks, we're going to run the football. And my father allows me still to come home for Thanksgiving if I do that.
Scott Chasen, 24/7 Sports. I think you said on Miles to Go, the episode that came today, do you have a math degree? Is that correct?
I do have a math degree. It took me 4.5 years. I went to college. I thought I was chasing the big bucks. I was going to be a radiologist. And then I got my first semester. I had physics and a higher level biology class. I figured out real quick I did not want to go in that direction anymore. So I knew I could teach math. I always had a love for math. I'm kind of a geometry guy. I see shapes, and that's how I see the world visually. And so I knew as a high school coach, if I got a math degree, I could teach anywhere because there's always a shortage of math teachers. So went and got my math degree, and it wasn't always easy. That pre-Cal 4 or that Calc 4 class was kicked my rear end a little bit, but yes, I do have a math degree.
So I'm curious, does that relate at all? You feel comfortable with analytics, and how do you kind of make decisions on fourth down specifically?
I do feel comfortable with analytics, which kind of leads me to where I've gotten with being an analyst at two different roles. I was really good at numbers. I was really good at knowing percentages right off my head. I'm not like Rain Man movie numbers, okay? But when I was at Auburn, Coach Malzahn, we used to ask me in certain situations during the practice week, hey, 3rd and 2 at the 33-yard line, right hash, what do they do? And I'm like, I'd have a sheet or something that you would usually tell me, but a lot of things have gone into that math. I use that math with a lot of things with football.
And on fourth downs, are you pretty aggressive with that?
It depends on the week.
Hey, Brent, on Miles to Go, they showed you in your '09 Corolla, which as an '07 Camry owner, I have a lot of respect for. But I just wondered with that, it kind of does speak to what you've been through to get this opportunity. So can you speak to the opportunity and knowing what this means for you personally?
I got to put a side note to that, too. They did not air this part, that is a hand-me-down from my wife. My wife has gotten 5 new vehicles since '09, and I continue to drive the '09 Toyota Corolla. That morning as well, I haven't replaced my spark plugs in all 134,000 miles. It started sputtering on me, and the check engine light came on. I was like, oh, my goodness, the ESPN Plus is going to turn this into, this guy's car's sputtering going into work. And so a little side note there. But, I think the Lord has brought me down a path for a reason. I'm a Southern raised guy. My dad was a deacon in our church growing up, and I know that God has prepared me through high school, through my time at Auburn, through Division II, through a head coach at NAIA to right now. He's prepared me through all those times in life. And, I don't want to be defined by what kind of car I drive, but it's paid off, so I'm going to keep driving that sucker.
Hi, Coach. David Lawrence, Jayhawk Radio. Welcome to the podium.
Yes, sir. Good to be here.
Quarterback position you've inherited. We've seen a lot of Carter, obviously. But can you just say a little bit about something that impressed you about all of them that you have in camp, quarterbacks, and something they do well?
Carter Stanley, I think Clint Bowen told me yesterday that Carter Stanley, I may be his 8th or 9th offensive coordinator, quarterback coach here. The resiliency that kid has got. You've gotten to see a little bit of his toughness this year with him trying to jump over guys, him trying to extend a fourth down play. Just what he's been through in his football career is amazing. And yet he shows up every day with a smile on his face. Just a tough kid, quick release kid that we're going to go to war with. And when I was a quarterback, I liked knowing when I was a coach's guy. And that's why you saw on the show me calling him and saying, hey, you're our guy right now. Because I didn't want him coming in any week thinking, man, I wonder if I'm looking behind my shoulder. Carter Stanley is a guy. But at the same time, we've got a talented room. Thomas McVitie is a tall guy that gives us great options with his legs and with throwing the ball, driving the ball down the field. Miles Kendricks played a lot of football games here as well and brings experience to the room, gets the ball out quick, like how he can kind of extend plays with his legs as well. Coach, we've got the third Miles in the building, and Coach's son, Manny Miles. Manny Miles is going to be a coach one day, and he plays on the field like a coach, and you can understand why. He knows what all 11 are supposed to do. And does a great job out there. And then the young guy, Torrey Lachlan, has got a God-given ability that is a little bit different. He looks different than the rest of the guys in the room. And I can see in the future, year from now, 2 years from now, of us finding ways to use Torrey Lachlan around this place.
Yeah, you talked about the opportunity and what kind of led to that coming into your life. I just wonder about the specific process of actually being asked, hey, we're going to make a change. And can you just take us through what that was like? And did you expect maybe that could happen as soon as it did? And was it kind of a whirlwind the last week?
I did not expect it when it did. When I came here, kind of took a leap of faith of leaving my alma mater. And I knew that in order to get a position like this, I was going to have to do that. And so came here with full intention. I was going to learn everything I could. I was going to build relationships with these coaches, build relationships with the players, and just grateful for the opportunity to come here. I'm with a future Hall of Fame head coach and Coach Miles, and get to rub shoulders with that guy every day. And for everything he's been through, I've learned so much just from him. But when I got that call, I was not ready. Not expecting that call. I was ready, but just wasn't expecting it to happen in that way. But the last 4 days, I've got a 2.5-week-old newborn at the house, so I wasn't getting much sleep already. But it's been a really fun week.
I've already heard from some recruits you've been active on the phone talking to them already. Are you looking forward to getting out on the road?
Absolutely. To go out and see some of the top guys on our board, to get on the phone with some of our top priorities was one of the first things that I thought we needed to do, is to make sure they knew the direction of the program, to make sure they knew that they were still a top priority to Kansas football. So on Monday, Tuesday, those phone calls started happening, and then trying to figure out when bye weeks come and when moments come of going to see guys in person so they can see me face to face instead of over the phone.
Hey, Coach Kevin Romery from Midcoast Sports Network here in town. I think we've all heard it from fans over and over. It's this, why isn't Kansas running the offense that it ran against Boston College? Number one, I guess, is it that simple? But what can you take away from that game? And is that kind of performance more realistic of your expectations?
You know, what I like, back in 1988, Tecmo Bowl, if you picked the right play with Bo Jackson, it would score every time. I like that play, and we tried to install that one. But, you know, what happened against Boston College, it was a certain defense they were given, a certain look they were given. So it wasn't just a one particular game that we had a certain game plan. There have been those type plays in all of our games this year. We just happened to be clicking. Things happened the right way that night. The moon was at the right spot in the air to shine over us. But it was just a great night for us that night.
Hey, Brent in the back right here. I realize this might be a better question to be answered in a couple of games, but in terms of your relationship with Coach Miles and balancing out what you want to do with his input for maybe what he would like to see, how do you anticipate that going in some of the conversations you guys, I guess, have had about the direction of the offense?
You know, things aren't going to change much. Coach Miles has always had, if you look back into his LSU stuff, he's always had a little bit of the RPO element in some of his later years at LSU. So he's got a familiarity with that side of things. And like I said earlier, it's not like we have an opportunity to go in and do a mass overhaul. We're going to try to make things flow as easy as possible for our players, so we don't come out looking like we're in install day 2 in fall camp. So our coaching staff has already been doing the things that we continue to do this past week.
Hey, Coach, Brian Haney, Jayhawk Network. Love the Tecmo Bowl reference. That was great.
Absolutely.
Kevin was hinting at expectations. What are your expectations to compete in this league, whether it's yards, points per game, whatever? It's obviously a high-flying league. What does Kansas football need to do week in and week out on your side of the ball to be competitive?
Right now, I kind of look at goals in two different ways. I look at our intermediate goals, right now goals, and then we've got a long-term goal. Our right now goals, we got to get better every day. And that's something that I ask those guys after practice. That's something we talk about in our meetings is, did I get better today? Did I help Kansas football today? And if we go in going, you know what, guys, we're going to go 50 points a game right now. That's not really the goal we've got now. Our goal is to focus on us. In the little bit of spare time I do have, favorite golfer of mine, I think made a statement that he never played the competition. He played the course. So right now we're trying to go out every day and we're trying to get better at Kansas. And that is our current goal. Now down the road, I think not turning the ball over is one of our big goals in the room, holding on to the football, being really good on third down, being good in red zone scoring. If you handle those three things, you usually put points on the board.
I got a couple. Brent, first off, with Les, has he told you you'll have full control of the offense? Has that been relayed to you?
It is kind of a collective group of the offensive coaches are going to put a game plan together, and that's the direction that we're going to head right now.
And I know we're all going to talk about RPO. That's kind of the buzzword, but obviously every coach brings their own little wrinkle to it. I think maybe with you having a pre and post snap read might be part of that, but I guess what is the Brent Dearmon wrinkle to your specific RPO system?
For me, I think who kind of stirs the pot matters. So when you go into practice and just the way it's called, the energy it's called with, the demand out of what we expect on this play, the detail. Like I said, we're not just going to go change the whole world and change read keys and change how we block things, but we're just going to try to get better at the way we're currently teaching it, get better at the current way we're doing it, and just try to find wrinkles every week to do what we currently do.
Just your connection to Les, how did that come about? And you called the opportunity a leap of faith a little bit ago. It was simple as that, or?
My connection with Les kind of dates back to Chip Lindsey. Me and Chip were on staff together as analysts in 2013, and through my connection with him, I've gotten hooked up with Coach Miles through the early process of this deal, and got an opportunity to meet Coach, got an opportunity to sit down with him, and like I said, knew that in order for me to get to where I'm at now, I did have to take a leap of faith. I could stay comfortable and been in my alma mater, and it was the same housing lady that was over me as an RA is still that lady that's over it right now. So the president is the one that would take me to lunch on Tuesday. So when you're at small college ball, you can get comfortable and your family's staying in one spot. But I say, you know what? I don't want to be comfortable. I want to keep moving forward, and took that leap of faith.
We have time for two more.
Coach, the offensive line, obviously you can't come in and change everything in the bye week, but it's just curious, running RPOs, is there particular techniques, styles, stance, gaps, whatever that fit it better, that maybe you can implement, and any other things that you can do to the offensive line to maybe make it more efficient, effective?
We practiced a little bit of the wing tee and the old school dead tee this week. I'm messing with you there. I think those guys are continuously getting better. Like I said, we're not going to go in and try to teach power different. We're not going to go in and teach a scheme different. I think Coach Meadows does a great job of teaching technique with those guys. My father would really hope we put in trap or midline, but I'm going to act like I didn't hear that when we talked last time. But we're just going to keep getting better. We're just going to stay on those guys and keep pushing them.
Scott.
Coach, I was just wondering if you could clear up the legendary tale from your playing days when you got popped in the mouth. I guess someone said your teeth were showing through your lip. What kind of happened with that story?
So my senior year at Bethel, in the second round of playoffs, right before halftime, we're running 2-minute drill. I get flushed out of the pocket. Now, I grew up with a rare disease. I was slow and couldn't jump very high. All right, so I take off running out of the pocket. I probably should have just thrown it away since I had that disease I just told you about. But when I go, the Mike linebacker's coming right at me. And I said, you know what, I don't want to get that guy hit me right here, and I need to make sure we clock it. So I slide. I was going to slide with my feet, but a D-tackle behind me scared me, so I slid head first, like I was sliding into second base. When I did that, that Mike linebacker came and speared me in the back of the head and put my head straight into the turf. My chin strap broke in half, and the bottom bar of my face mask came into my mouth right underneath my lip and created a new mouth. I looked down, and I had 2 teeth full. The whole tooth was sitting on the turf. I picked those up, went off the field. Backup came in and took a knee. We went into halftime. And then it was my senior year. I mean, I wasn't going to sit on the sideline in a playoff game, so I had a goatee back then. So I had to borrow a teammate's razor and dry shave around it. I cleaned my mouth out by rinsing some water out, but I couldn't rinse because it just came pouring out of the second mouth that was just created. And they put some cotton balls inside. They bandaged it up outside. I got some pictures on my phone if anybody wants to see. But went out in the second half, played in the second half. We lost by 4 points, but I got a good story to tell.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.